Have another thank you to say that goes to Wisconsin out there with the cookie says, everyone send up a prayer for Pickles. He's going through a Nickelback phase. What? I was unaware of this. Wisconsin, thank you very much for the cookie, my friend. Much appreciated. I only know a couple Nickelback songs, like the Burn It to the Ground song, and then maybe like Photograph. And I think that's pretty much it. I'd never been a huge fan of Nickelback. I do remember way back in the day, playing World of Warcraft arenas with my stepdad. We'd blast like Buck Cherry and Nickelback and Skillet and other bands like that. It's kind of the World of Warcraft PvP music. But anyways, Nomi for you checking in out there as well. Good to see you out there, Nomi for you, as always. And with that being said, I guess we'll go ahead and get started with the news. Starting off over at thenationalpulse.com, we have some explosive news coming out of Georgia. Yeah, it turns out the election was rigged, guys, just like President Trump said. Georgia's Fulton County admits to counting 315,000 uncertified votes in 2020. Yeah, Fulton County, Georgia has admitted that roughly 315,000 early votes from the 2020 election were counted despite lacking required poll worker signatures on tabulation tapes, violating state law. The confirmation came at a December hearing of the Georgia State Election Board related to a complaint filed by David Cross, an election integrity advocate in the area. Cross submitted his complaint to the SEB back in March 2022, claiming Fulton County broke Georgia rules by tabulating votes without the mandated signatures on the tapes. Ann Brumbaugh, attorney for the Fulton County Board of Registration and Elections, acknowledged the missing signatures, saying the county does not dispute that the tapes were not signed. An investigation by the Georgia Secretary of State's office verified that Fulton County did not follow proper procedures for signing the tabulation tapes. It also uncovered additional issues, including polling locations that did not verify their tapes. In his presentation, Cross highlighted these problems, pointing to polling sites running at odd times and repeated scanner serial numbers. These are not clerical errors, they are catastrophic breaks in chain of custody and certification, he stressed. Excuse me, guys, a bit of a tickle in my throat tonight. Hopefully that does not get in the way of the show. Ross is calling on the SEB to sanction Fulton County and for the state to decertify the county's 2020 early voting results. Notably, President Donald J. Trump, quote-unquote, lost Georgia to former President Joe Biden, his fraudulency himself, by only 11,779 votes. So, yeah. That's pretty massive freaking news, and Subpack Vet says, now arrest someone already, which was basically going to be my next the next thing that I was going to say. Like, if this is the case, then there needs to be a massive, massive reckoning here. There needs to be criminal investigations into this. This is basically confirmation that, at least in Georgia, President Trump's claims about the election being rigged and stolen are absolutely true. So there it is. Once again, guys, from thenationalpulse.com, some explosive news coming out today, and I look forward to a follow-up on this. Hopefully it involves a criminal investigation. Excuse me, guys. Geez, I don't know where the hell that's coming from, but I really hope that goes away so we can do the freaking show. So Michigan Senate candidate says she wouldn't be able to control herself around Justices Barrett and Kavanaugh and jokes about throwing beers in their faces. We have an unhinged, radical left Democrat here. She is running in Michigan for Senate. So another day, another Democrat casually flirting with political violence. Michigan State Senator and Democrat U.S. Senate candidate Mallory McMorrow openly admitted she wouldn't be able to control herself if she encountered conservative Supreme Court Justices Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh in public, and even joked about throwing beer cans in their faces. McMorrow, who authored a book titled Hate Won't Win, Find Your Power and Leave This Place Better Than You Found It, sounds extremely woke to me, is running for the open Michigan Senate seat in 2026 and made the remarks during a campaign event. An audience member asked whether there was any point in contacting the court, blaming the justices for major national issues. McMorrow responded by recounting a story she claimed to have heard about Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett attending a tailgate together, then escalated into a disturbing hypothetical. I'm a Notre Dame grad, and Amy Coney Barrett coming out of my university makes me furious, McMorrow said. But just on a personal level, I talked to somebody yesterday who said they saw her with Brett Kavanaugh at a tailgate last weekend. I was like, I would not be able to control myself. That would be bad. There would be beer thrown in people's faces. At a time when Supreme Court justices already face credible security threats, protests at their homes, and doxing campaigns encouraged by Democrats and their allies, McMorrow's remarks were viewed as reckless and dangerous, especially coming from an elected official seeking higher office. Excuse me. If a Republican candidate joked about throwing objects at liberal justices, the media would erupt in wall-to-wall coverage or outrage and demand immediate resignation. The National Republican Senatorial Committee wrote on X that McMurrow needs help and questioned whether someone who openly fantasizes about assaulting sitting Supreme Court justices should be entrusted with a U.S. Senate seat. And yeah, obviously freaking not. So here is the clip of this absolute whack job saying this, and then it looks like we have a clip from Fox where this is being discussed.
Is there any sense in dealing with the Supreme Court, writing them, calling them? I blame them for a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about that. I call, but I just don't know if it's a waste of time.
So I'm a Notre Dame grad, and Amy Coney Barrett coming out of my university makes me very excited. Just on a personal level, I talked to somebody yesterday who said they saw her with Brett Kavanaugh at a tailgate last weekend. I was like, I would not be able to control myself. That would be bad. But there would be beers thrown in people's faces.
So there's that. There will be beers thrown in people's faces. And this is what the Democrat Party scrouges up to run for a Senate seat from the state of Michigan. Here's a 1 minute, 25-second clip from Fox where they're discussing this. I'll try to pause it every 30 seconds or so for BoobTube. Here we go.
I want to get to this as well. There's a Democratic Michigan Senate candidate, Mallory McMurrow. She had some strong feelings about people she might see in the street and what she would do to them, including 2 Supreme Court justices who are from the conservative side, Kavanaugh and Barrett. Watch here.
Notre Dame grad, and
obviously we already watched the clip, so we don't really need to watch the clip. Let's see what they have to say about it, though.
And Mark, this isn't new. If you look back just to Maxine Waters and Chuck Schumer, watch.
You see this turnout here? You ain't seen nothing yet. Women are going to control their bodies no matter how they try and stop us. The hell with the Supreme Court.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind.
The Democrats very often complain about President Trump's rhetoric, but honestly, when it comes to rhetoric, they're extremely hypocritical. Their rhetoric is completely insane, and it's only gotten worse the past couple of years.
And you will pay the price.
Mark, your thoughts here.
So I can't stand Chuck Schumer and Maxine Waters, but I don't have an uncontrolled desire to throw beer in their faces.
Yeah, and this is a great point here by the guest on Fox. I can't stand the left. I can't stand leftist politicians. I hate all of them with every fiber in my being. And maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe harboring hate towards certain people is unhealthy and maybe even a little immoral. But honestly, with what the Democrats have done to this country, how they've divided this country, and the unbelievably harmful policies that they continue doubling down on, I can't really feel anything for these people other than pure malice and hatred. But does that mean that I would assault them if I ran into them on the street? Absolutely freaking not. In fact, I would probably just ignore them and not say anything. And this is a major difference between the right and the left. The left, as of late, I'm sorry guys, my voice is really giving me a problem today. I may have to cut this short or something because I'm trying to speak and it just keeps getting in the way. I keep having to clear my throat every 12 seconds. But the right and the left, very different these days. Especially the left in recent years has essentially radicalized themselves to the point where they legitimately think that using violence against conservatives rather than just engaging in respectful debate and trying to find common ground is the way to go. And we've seen this become more and more and more prevalent on the left in recent years.
I just don't understand the kind of uncontrolled rage that some of these Democrats have against people with whom they disagree with on politics. It's a sickness.
And he's right. It absolutely is a sickness. Is there a cure? I have absolutely no idea. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening with the left. I honestly think that it's either they fix their shit, right? They rein in the crazies on the left and bring themselves under control. Or they continue doubling down and essentially the Democrat Party will destroy itself, which it looks like that's actually the road they're going down, which is actually, I think, better for America, but not in the short term, only in the long term, because in the short term, the left is essentially going to cause a lot of problems in their TDS-induced fury, essentially. So there's that. Next one here from Daily Wire. Elise Stefanik drops out of New York governor's race. And this is just extremely disappointing news, and not the only story of this type that we have today. Two Republicans basically throwing in the towel. Representative Elise Stefanik, who has seen a formidable challenge, or who has been seen, or was seen as a formidable challenger to incumbent New York Democrat Governor Kathy Hochul, abruptly suspended her gubernatorial campaign Friday and is taking a step back from politics. While spending precious time with my family this Christmas season, I've made the decision to suspend my campaign for governor and will not seek re-election to Congress, Stefanik wrote on X. Stefanik's choice stems from the unexpected entry of Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman into the Republican primary for governor, a move Stefanik says would inevitably lead to a costly and ultimately unnecessary primary battle. Blakeman jumped into the primary despite a phone call from President Trump, warning him against challenging Stefanik, whom the president endorsed emphatically earlier this year. While we would have overwhelmingly won this primary, it is not an effective use of our time or your generous resources to spend the first half of next year in an unnecessary and protracted Republican primary, especially in a challenging state like New York, Stefanik said. With her congressional term ending in 2027, Stefanik hopes to focus her attention on motherhood and other personal goals. And while many know me as Congresswoman, my most important title is mom. I believe that being a parent is life's greatest gift and greatest responsibility, Stefanik said. I've thought deeply about this, and I know that as a mother, I'll feel profound regret if I don't further focus on my young son's safety, growth, and happiness, particularly at his tender age. The Harvard grad was once considered a rising star in the Republican Party and even a potential running mate for President Trump in 2024, but Stefanik has had a challenging year. Stefanik gave up her leadership position and her spot on the House Intel Committee earlier this year to accept the position of UN ambassador, only for the offer to be rescinded after Trump feared losing her House seat in the ensuing special election, eating into the Republicans' razor-thin House majority. I'm incredibly grateful to the people of New York's 21st District for entrusting me to represent you in the United States Congress. Thank you to my dedicated staff over the past decade. I'm proud of the significant results that we successfully delivered for the hardworking families in our district and across America, Stefanik concluded. It has been a tremendous professional honor to serve as your Congresswoman over the past 11 years. So there is that once again, guys, from DailyWire.com. Really disappointing news as far as I'm concerned. I would have loved to see Stefanik win that race, but unfortunately she just wants to step back and spend more time with her family. Along with another Republican senator announcing retirement ahead of the 2026 midterms, and that's Wyoming Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis. She announced on Friday that she will not seek re-election in 2026, becoming the fifth GOP senator to announce her retirement this year. Deciding not to run for re-election does not represent a change of heart for me, but in the difficult, exhausting session weeks this fall, I've come to accept that I did not have 6 more years in me, said Lummis, who has served in the Senate since 2021. I'm a devout legislator, but I feel like a sprinter in a marathon. The energy required doesn't match up, the 71-year-old senator added. Lummis joins a growing list of Republican senators who have announced this year that they will not seek to remain in the chamber, including longtime GOP Senate leader Mitch McConnell, very excited to have him gone, Joni Ernst, Tommy Tuberville, and Thom Tillis. The Wyoming senator was a strong ally of President Donald Trump, who endorsed her in the 2020 election before Lummis went on to win the primary and general elections in landslide victories. I'm honored to have earned the support of President Trump and to have the opportunity to work side by side with him to fight for the people of Wyoming, Lummis added in her statement. I look forward to continuing this partnership and throwing all my energy into bringing important legislation to his desk in 2026 and into retaining common sense Republican control of the U.S. Senate. Lummis' departure will likely not affect the balance of power in the Senate, as Wyoming remains a reliably red state, but with her retirement, the GOP must now rally behind a new candidate in 2026. Congresswoman Harriet Hageman, who defeated Trump critic Liz Cheney in 2022, is considered a potential candidate to replace Lummis. Before being elected to the Senate in the 2020 election, Lummis served in the U.S. House for 8 years. She got her start in politics in the Wyoming House of Representatives at just 24 years old. Loomis became known as the Crypto Queen in the Senate for her work to develop U.S. regulations on cryptocurrency and establish a national Bitcoin reserve. We sincerely thank Senator Cynthia Loomis for her dedicated service to the people of Wyoming and congratulate her on a well-deserved retirement, the Republican-aligned Senate Leadership Fund said. Senator Loomis's strong conservative record is unquestioned, and her list of accomplishments includes ensuring that the United States is the world leader in digital currencies and energy production. While she'll be missed, we look forward to seeing many more great things ahead for Senator Cynthia Loomis. So there is that, guys. Once again, from DailyWire.com, Cynthia Loomis will also not be seeking re-election. That's along with Elise Stefanik, who's dropping out of the gubernatorial race and also will not seek re-election to her current position. So there is that, guys. Once again, from Daily Wire. Some disappointing news today, politically. Andy Joanne, good to see you out there as always. Much love to you. Excuse me, guys. I'm just clearing my throat over and over again, and I keep just getting like a solid layer of whatever it is that I need to clear out of my throat 30 seconds later. So we may end up just giving up on this show tonight, guys. I totally didn't even see this coming. I was totally fine before, then I started talking on the show and it started being a problem. So I don't know, maybe I blew my voice out yesterday or something, guys, but there's clearly my throat is quite irritated today. I'll try and get through at least the headlines for you guys, if that's, I feel like that's better than nothing. So we'll just go ahead and do that. From Daily Caller, kind of a funny story today. Top Mamdani pick is out after a single day on the job as her anti-Semitic past resurfaces. Yeah, turns out she's an anti-Semite, among other things, absolute radical freaking psychopath. She said things such as tweeting about money-hungry Jews, described a subway route as the Jew train and made comments about working with rich Jewish peeps. My goodness, dude. And of course, there's a whole lot more to it as well. She referred to NYPD officers as piggies. That's probably not great to say. Somebody in the administration of the mayor of New York. Yeah, probably not the right thing to say. So, I don't know. I just thought this was really, really freaking funny, dude. This young, frankly retarded, far-left moron spent one day on the job on Mamdani's administration, and she's already out because of her ridiculous past statements and whatnot that were highly offensive to many people. So, there it is. Andy Joanne says, too much yarling yesterday. I don't think it was the yarling. I feel like I was maybe just projecting my voice way too much yesterday, guys. I don't know. Next one here from Zero Hedge. DOJ misses the deadline for the full Epstein files release. It will instead stagger the releases to protect victims. So they're going to be releasing this stuff apparently in little chunks. This came as a disappointment today. I expected a ginormous document dump. And we have gotten some today, as the next story says. But yeah, they've essentially not even complied with the law. They say they need more time to redact things in order to protect the victims, which I can totally understand. It's just like, come on, guys. What have you been doing? Like, this legislation was signed a while ago. You should have been able to go through all this stuff. And figure out what needs to be redacted and what needs to not be redacted. So there is that, once again, from ZeroHedge.com. You guys can check out the full story. I'm just going to go through the headlines for you guys today and give my voice a rest, because clearly it needs it. Next one from the Gateway Pundit. DOJ releases batch of Epstein files, which includes new photos of Bill Clinton swimming with a mystery woman who's probably underage. So you can see this Ghislaine Maxwell. There's Bill Clinton, and then there's a mystery woman over here whose face is redacted. It's another photograph of Bill Clinton in a hot tub there. Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein wearing weird shirts as well. And then you have another, let's see here, Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein are in this photo. There's Bill, there's Jeffrey Epstein. Don't know who the other people are in the photo, though. And yeah, so there's that. There's more coming out on the Epstein stuff, guys. And I'm guessing over the weekend there's going to be like a whole lot of stuff popping up on the internet. People digging through this stuff, looking through all of it. posting photos, so on and so forth. And it is going to be a continuing rollout in chunks type of release from the DOJ. And also, if you guys are interested in looking at this stuff for yourselves, you can go to justice.gov/Epstein. They have set up that URL. If you go there right now, you probably will be put on a waiting list. In fact, I'll do that for you guys right now just so you can see what to expect if you go. I accidentally typed in Epstein. Epstein. Here we go. Oh, actually, I was not put on a waiting list this time. So this is the page that they've set up. There's obviously a share button. They do have a privacy notice saying basically like we've been going as fast as we can, redacting the things that need to be redacted to protect victims. But if there is anything in here that probably should be redacted and has not been, they're asking people to notify them at efta@usdoj.gov. And then it says this site houses materials responsive under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. This site will be updated if additional documents are identified for release. Some of the library's contents include descriptions of sexual assault. As such, please be advised that certain portions of this library may not be appropriate for all readers. And then they have a search. And it says, due to technical limitations in the format of certain materials, like handwritten text, portions of these documents may not be electronically searchable or may produce unreliable search results. So keep that in mind, right? Kind of hard to search for handwritten text on a napkin or something that's just on a picture or whatever, right? But then you've got court records, DOJ disclosures, FOIA records, and then House disclosures in here. And that, those 4 different links are where you can go to find all of the Epstein documents that they are releasing. And again, this is going to be, updated probably several times until they actually get all of the stuff that they're required to release by that law out there. So there it is, fam. Once again, that's justice.gov/Epstein. And the story on this came from the Gateway Pundit. Next one here from Breitbart. Jury quickly convicts judge who helped illegal migrant escape ICE. So Judge Dugan is going to jail, my friends. And so she has been found guilty by the jury. Let's see if it says anywhere how much time in jail she's probably going to get. I think I read somewhere that she may end up getting about 5 years. So I will keep you guys updated on how much jail time she's going to be getting here. But she has been convicted, which I'm very happy with this result. I was slightly worried that the jury would let her off the hook. Let's see here. There was one thing that I did want to share from this, and this is one of Dugan's attorneys, Jason Luzak, asked the jury to play politics, saying, quote, and I'm quoting one of Dugan's attorneys, quote, "You're the check on government overreach. Use your power to do justice in this case. You have the power to correct this unjust prosecution. It's your decision and justice is in your hands." So essentially, the defense had no real defense other than begging the jury to just be super left-wing, play some politics on this, and let her go. Totally ridiculous, of course. Honestly, that shouldn't even be allowed. But there it is, once again, from Breitbart.com. Appealing to politics to a jury as an attorney should literally be illegal in this country. I do not understand why it's not. Like, that attorney should have been slapped in cuffs the moment he did that. It seems to me that that's one of the best ways to instantaneously illegitimize an entire trial, right? So there is that once again, guys, from Breitbart.com. Unfreaking real, man. But very happy to see that Dugan will be spending some time in jail. Next one here comes from Breitbart. Everything we know about the Brown University shooting and MIT murder. So lots of details in here as far as what happened with the Brown University and MIT murders. Let's go ahead, and I guess I'll go through this since this has been one of the biggest stories out there this week. See, here's what they found out. Brown University shooting. Shortly after 4 p.m., a suspect opened fire in a classroom during a finals review session in the Barras and Holly Engineering and Physics building. 2 people were killed in the attack and 9 others injured. The Brown University professor in whose classroom the shooting occurred said the attacker yelled something before he started shooting. CNN noted that a teaching assistant who was in the classroom said he came in, pointed the gun, and then screamed something. I don't know what he said, and none of the other students know what he said. Then he just started shooting right after that. Law enforcement was able to ascertain that the attacker used a 9mm handgun, firing approximately 40 rounds. A 24-year-old Wisconsin man referred to only as a person of interest was detained by police Sunday morning, only to be released hours later. Hold on, guys. Just messaging somebody. Sorry about that, guys. So, a 24-year-old Wisconsin man, referred to only as a person of interest, was detained by police Sunday morning, only to be released hours later. The manhunt restarted in earnest once the 24-year-old was released, with law enforcement making clear they had a new person of interest. On Monday, police released video of the new person of interest and would spend the next 4 days searching for the individual. Also Monday, the FBI released photos of the person of interest and announced a $50,000 reward for information leading to the identification, arrest, and conviction of the individual. The FBI warned that the person of interest should be considered armed and dangerous. Also on Monday, MIT professor Nuno Loureiro was found inside his home with numerous gunshot wounds. He was rushed to a hospital where he died. During a Tuesday press conference, Rhode Island Attorney General Peter Naranjo admitted there are fewer, if any, cameras in the area in which Saturday's shooting at Brown University occurred. This was part of Naranjo explaining why the footage and photos of the person of interest consisted of video and images taken in a nearby neighborhood rather than inside the school building. On Wednesday, the Providence Police Department released photos showing an individual they say was in proximity of the person of interest. Wednesday night, Thursday morning, officials indicated they had recovered DNA and fingerprints from shell casings at the Brown University crime scene. On Thursday morning, Breitbart News reported that Brown University campus safety chief Rodney Chapman lost a previous job at University of Utah after lacking the credentials necessary to hold the position. Fox News' Jesse Waters had noted that Chapman was notably missing from press conferences that had occurred daily since the Brown University shooting. Midday Thursday, law enforcement announced they had identified the person of interest, although that identity was not shared with the public. Later Thursday, law enforcement made clear they were eyeing a connection between the Brown University attack and the MIT murder. Thursday night, television screens were filled with wall-to-wall coverage of law enforcement converging on a storage facility in Salem, New Hampshire, where they believed the Brown University shooting suspect might be holed up. Law enforcement was able to track him to that facility via a vehicle they traced to the suspect. The Providence Journal reported that a Brown University faculty member contacted the Rhode Island State Police about a suspicious vehicle she had seen on campus 2 days before Saturday's shooting. The car was a gray sedan with a Florida license plate, and the call helped lead to a license plate number. Law enforcement entered the specific storage bin rented to the shooting suspect and discovered the suspect deceased of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. During a press conference that followed the discovery of the shooting suspect's body, Providence Police Chief Colonel Oscar Perez noted that a video provided law enforcement with information that led to the vehicle which they traced to the suspect. The pursuit of the vehicle led to a car rental place from which law enforcement gathered footage of the suspect. Perez indicated that the deceased suspect was a Portuguese national. Also during the Thursday night presser, officials made clear the deceased shooting suspect had a satchel that matched the satchel they had seen on him in videos and photos. Law enforcement was also found 2 firearms. On Friday morning, it was revealed the Brown University shooting suspect attended school in Portugal with the slain MIT professor, which is an interesting link. So there is that, guys, once again from Breitbart.com. And looks like I've already put the link out there for you guys, so we'll just move on to the next one. So here's how a homeless man blew the Brown University and MIT cases wide open and led authorities to the assassin. So yeah. Turns out this person was a homeless man, and he's probably going to end up getting a $50,000 reward. So they say a vigilant citizen has emerged as the hero who helped take down the man who killed 2 students at Brown University and took out a professor at MIT. So they are saying the MIT professor was killed by the same guy. As the Gateway Pundit reported, the suspected Brown University shooter was found dead Thursday night from a self-inflicted gunshot wound inside a storage unit in Salem, New Hampshire, just 6 days after he opened fire at Brown University and killed students and critically wounded 9. He was identified as Claudio Neves Valente, a 48-year-old former Brown University student and Portuguese national. Neves Valente first arrived in America on a diversity visa card. He went on to kill MIT professor Nuno Loureiro a few days later. Police held a press conference to announce the news and pat themselves on the back. However, the real credit goes to a homeless person named John, who was also previously seen on surveillance footage in the vicinity of Brown University. John, a former Brown University student, grew suspicious of Neves Valente when he locked eyes with him in the bathroom 2 hours before the shooting. He followed Valente out of the building before the shooting and played a game of cat and mouse with him. At one point, they stood just feet away from each other. Neves Valente also told John on various occasions to stop harassing him. After the police released video or images of Neves Valente, John went on Reddit and posted several damning details about the vehicle the killer was driving. I'm being dead serious, John wrote. The police need to look into a gray Nissan with Florida plates, possibly a rental. That was the car he was driving. I found it odd when I circled back. I approached the car, and that's when I saw the Florida plates. John then called the tip line and flagged his Reddit post. The police ultimately relied on his Reddit post to eventually identify Valente. In the meantime, Valente went on to murder the MIT professor while police and Brown University administrators operated like the Keystone Cops. Just to think what could have happened if John had not been there the day of the shooting, it's quite possibly the case would have gone unsolved and Valente could have killed even more people. If John does not receive the $50,000 reward for not only identifying the shooter, but also basically solving the case, then there is no justice. So there is that, guys. Once again, from thegatewaypundit.com, a homeless man named John being hailed a hero after he's the one who ended up helping police crack this case. In fact, he's pretty much the only reason the police were able to crack the case. So there it is, guys. Once again, from the Gateway Pundit. Next one, Brown University accused of removing cameras to evade ICE. And if that's the case, then, heads need to roll at Brown University. If they're removing cameras, which basically puts people in danger just because of their willingness to evade ICE and help illegal immigrants evade ICE, then that is just completely and utterly unacceptable. So I'll keep you guys updated on this. I think it's a really interesting point to be making because President Trump, he put that out there as well, basically asking why the hell did the campus not have more cameras? And there's basically no cameras on that building. So there it is, once again from Zero Hedge. Next one, Nick Reiner diagnosed with schizophrenia before parents were killed, according to a report. So, I mean, it looks like the defense, may end up using his schizophrenia diagnosis as a way to claim that, he's not actually culpable for the killings. So I think that's an interesting update to the case indeed. And, schizophrenia can make you do some pretty crazy shit from what I have read and watched online about it. So there it is. Next one, Kristi Noem suspends diversity visa lottery after Brown University shooter identified as a migrant. So that same program that Brown University shooter used to get into the United States has been suspended. Frankly, I wish that they would get rid of it altogether permanently because it's basically just a lottery system to let random-ass people into our country. I think that's an awful fucking idea. And it should have been there in the first place. So there is that. Next one here from the National Pulse. Mexican cartels are hiring teenagers to carry out targeted killings in the United States, which is exactly why we need to carry out targeted killings on the cartels themselves. We need to kill all of them. Pink mist all of them. Use the United States military to wipe them off the face of the planet. I will never complain about Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth using the military might to destroy these assholes because they have been causing problems in our country and many other countries. Freaking beheadings, mass graves, drug trafficking, child sex trafficking, all this bullshit. It needs to be brought to a fucking stop. And I have absolutely no problem with President Trump using the full force of the United States military to put these fucking dudes 6 feet under or to the bottom of the fucking ocean. So there is that. Once again, guys, from the nationalpulse.com. The Mexican cartels and all other cartels from South America are going fucking down. And you will not see me shed a single tear over it. Next one here, over 50 Tren de Aragua gang members imported under Democrats indicted in Nebraska in a massive nationwide ATM jackpotting scheme. So good to see law enforcement continuing their fantastic work and catching all these criminals. And that's a big haul right there. Over 50 of them indicted at once. So fantastic work there by law enforcement. Next one, Minnesota Somali fraudster pleads guilty to Medicaid and food stamp theft scheme. So again, another update on the Minnesota fraud scandal. And of course, I will keep you guys updated on this, but just another guy pleading guilty to this, choosing not to go through a protracted trial. Next one here, HHS to immigrant sponsors say, pay what you owe for immigrants who use Medicaid or face collection. So this is freaking fantastic. Essentially, they're saying, like, look, all these illegal immigrants that were defrauding the Medicaid system, you're going to have to pay all that money back. You owe the American people back for what you stole, which is absolutely fantastic. My goodness, I almost missed the mute button there, guys. That was a hell of a freaking sneeze. Sorry about that. But yeah, this is fantastic news. I'm really, really happy to see them doing this. The illegal immigrants who were defrauding Medicaid, they're going to have to pay all that money back to the American people. So, fan-freaking-tastic stuff, and honestly, it's only fair. Next one here from the Gateway Pundit. Feds confirm driver accused of killing at least one American is an illegal immigrant. He cannot speak English and was released into the country by the Biden regime. So, yeah, it's just another one. How many more times is this going to happen until the blue states stop with their freaking CDL? Absolute nonsense. Giving people that don't even speak English and are otherwise ineligible for many other reasons because they cannot even pass the exam, commercial driver's licenses, and then you end up with Americans dying needlessly in car accidents caused by these absolute freaking fools that should not even be in our country to begin with. So there it is once again from the Gateway Pundit. Next one from Breitbart. Tennessee AG sues Roblox for failing to protect children from predators, calling it a digital creepy cargo van, which is basically exactly what Roblox is. So good to see yet another state taking legal action against Roblox. I know that several other states have done so in the past as well. And of course, in the near future, I will make sure to keep you guys updated on this lawsuit as well. Next one here from Breitbart as well. Trump White House urged to review LGBTQ content in Netflix shows for children ahead of the Warner Bros. Deal, saying shocking numbers, and most parents are unaware of it. So yeah, absolutely. I think Netflix is one of the worst offenders when it comes to trying to push this nonsense on children, and the White House absolutely should look into it. And I'll keep you guys updated on this as we move forward as well. Bit more news for today here before we start wrapping this thing up. And again, sorry guys, I usually I go for like 3 hours, but my voice is I can just feel that whatever is going on in here is just not right, and I really don't want to completely break my voice. I'm sure you guys remember that time that I got sick and I lost my voice for like 3 weeks straight. That was absolutely horrible. And I feel like I have like voice PTSD or something, because I really don't want to piss my voice off and then be all raspy next week. So, getting back into it here, from the Gateway Pundit, Jared Isaacman confirmed as new NASA administrators. Trump signs an executive order directing the return of Americans to the moon by 2028 with a permanent lunar base by 2030, which is completely freaking wild to think about. By 2030, we're basically going to be in a sci-fi movie if President Trump's executive order here is followed. 2028, going back to the moon. 2030, a permanent lunar base. Absolutely wild to think about, and of course, I will keep you guys updated on the prospect of that as we move forward. Next one here from Western Journal. Transportation Secretary's daughter calls for complete eradication of TSA after nightmare airport experience. And I think we'd all love to see a complete eradication of TSA. I think that would instantly improve the mental health of Americans that have to fly on a regular basis. That's for damn sure. So yeah, what do you guys think out there? Do you think we need the TSA, or do you think we could eradicate them and maybe just have, less rapey security at terminals? Let me know. Next one here comes from Just the News. TikTok signs deal selling U.S. assets to 3 American investors. So an interesting update to the whole TikTok situation, which has actually taken a long freaking time to actually get to this point. But there it is. As part of this deal, basically all U.S. users' data will be held by Oracle, which is a United States company. It'll be held in the United States as well. So that's the main big concern that's been quelled here. Chinese Communist Party access to Americans' data was basically a non-starter for Washington, D.C., and this deal seems to alleviate that concern. So there it is. Next one here from the Daily Caller, the good, the bad, and the what the heck, and the nearly $1 trillion bill that Trump just signed. And of course, this one is unfortunately paywalled. But if you guys out there have a login for Daily Caller, then I would certainly encourage you guys to check this one out. But yeah, nearly $1 trillion NDAA. That's a very big chunk of change. I just hope that it's not completely and totally packed with pork. And maybe this weekend, guys, we'll do another show where we try to go in depth with this show prep, because I feel really bad for just giving you guys the headlines and moving on. That's not what I normally do. Usually you guys get a lot more of an information-dense show, but I'm just trying to get through this quickly so that I can save my voice. So here we go from Breitbart. Operation Southern Spear is still winning. U.S. military strike kills 5 more drug traffickers. So that's always good to see. Again, you're never going to see me shed a single tear over these cartel-connected individuals, narco-terrorists, so on and so forth, getting blown the hell up. In fact, it makes me feel very warm and fuzzy inside when I see that we've blown more of these ass clowns up. So fantastic work by the United States military and the Trump administration. Next one here from the Epoch Times. Trump says he isn't ruling out war with Venezuela. Let's see exactly what he said here. President Donald Trump said on December 18th that he isn't ruling out the possibility of war with Venezuela amid U.S. economic and military pressure on the country. Don't rule it out, or I don't rule it out, no, Trump told NBC News when asked about the prospect of a war with a South American nation. When pressed on whether his government's campaign targeting Venezuela will lead to war, he responded, "I don't discuss it." Earlier this week, Trump said he ordered the U.S. military to initiate a blockade of sanctioned oil tankers, coming about a week after the administration seized a tanker near the country. Officials said that the tanker was engaging in business with foreign terrorist organizations linked to the Iranian regime. Trump was also asked whether more tankers could be seized by the U.S. It depends. If they're foolish enough to be sailing along, they'll be sailing along back into one of our harbors, he said. So there it is, guys, once again from the EpochTimes.com. And we shall see what happens with Venezuela. I honestly do not believe that it's going to escalate to a war. But I do think that Maduro's days are numbered, nonetheless. So that's kind of, I feel like he will eventually just kind of give up. They don't have a strong enough military to face up against the United States, not even freaking close. Their awful their socialistic / communistic economy has not helped them in that regard at all. They have crumbling infrastructure. Their air force is basically nothing. They have basically nothing of a navy. All they really have is a bunch of infantry that are shittily trained and probably have awful equipment. So I'm really not worried about a war with Venezuela. If a war with Venezuela did happen, it probably would break out into an insurgency that would be a little bit protracted, but I think that we'd very easily come out on top of that conflict, as long as a shit ton of other nations didn't end up getting involved. But I don't think it's going to come to that. I think that President Trump will continue the blockade, and he will use certain tools at his disposal to ratchet up internal pressure in Venezuela for Maduro to just give up and relinquish power, and I think that's exactly what's going to end up happening. And then President Trump is going to destroy all of the cartels, which I'm very much looking forward to. Next one here comes from the Gateway Pundit. Islamist migrants and asylum seekers vandalizing and disrupting Christmas celebrations. Diversity is our strength, they keep saying, though. So yeah, again, this is just more on how over in Europe, they're not even allowed. They don't even have the opportunity to celebrate Christmas and go to Christmas markets and celebrations and whatnot, because it's almost guaranteed that if they do, they're going to get blown up by some Islamist ass clown that was let into the country for no good reason at all. So, European countries continue having a massive freaking problem. Same thing with this from the Gateway Pundit. France, Australia, and Germany have all canceled New Year's celebrations, and we all know why, but they're not brave enough to tell us. Yep, they know why as well. They know exactly why they're having to cancel all this stuff. They won't say it, though, because they don't want to be called racist by, radical left morons. So there is that. Next one here from Zero Hedge, the end of welcome culture. The majority of Germans want immigration moratorium and mass deportations. So we'll see what the German government ends up doing. Maybe they'll just end up trying to arrest a majority of Germans or something. Because as far as I know, it's basically illegal to have this opinion. So there is that once again from ZeroHedge.com. Again, guys, Europe is just an absolute freaking dumpster fire. I feel unbelievably badly for the people that live there. Except for the people, of course, that voted themselves into this nonsense. They fucking deserve it for sure. Next one here from the National Pulse. Far-left UK government holds up new rules banning men from women-only spaces. So, yeah, massive rug pull for the people of the UK. Can't say I'm surprised, though, because the UK government is extremely far-left. Probably one of the most far-left governments on the face of the planet right now. Speaking of far-left governments, Australia will be confiscating and destroying hundreds of thousands of firearms in a forced buyback program, essentially. So, Australians losing even more of their freedoms. After this, essentially, Australians will have basically zero firearms rights whatsoever. Obviously, this is the wrong thing to do. Instead of forced buyback of guns, they should be doing a forced sendback of immigrants, and this stuff would clear up very quickly. But no, they're not going to do that because they want to pretend that like it's not the migrants causing this problem. No, they want to pretend that inanimate objects, aka guns, are the ones that are actually causing the problem, and they're just going to go ahead and try and get rid of all of those and have their little utopian gun-free zone country. It's obviously not going to work. People are going to continue seeing terrorist attacks in Australia because, newsflash, criminals don't follow fucking laws. Imagine that. How crazy is that? Criminals don't follow laws, so you can pass a law saying you can't have a gun, and the criminal's going to laugh at that. The law-abiding citizen's not going to laugh at that. They're going to give you their gun, and then they're going to have absolutely no way to defend themselves against an actual criminal. It is unbelievable to me that this is not a insanely obvious and like head-scratchingly obvious thing for everyone on the face of the fucking planet to understand. It really does just come down to common sense, and it drives me fucking insane to hear people from Australia and New Zealand and the UK and other European countries talking mad shit about American gun laws when they still have shootings over there all the fucking time that their stupid ass gun laws haven't done jack shit to actually stop. It's absolutely fucking crazy to me, and they don't understand the concept of like, if you take guns away from the law-abiding citizens, but you outlaw them. Or, you know, and they're outlawed across the system. The only people that are not going to have guns are the people that actually follow the law. The actual criminals, you think they're going to go turn in their gun or participate in the forced buyback program? It's not going to fucking happen. And it's just insane to me that anybody on the face of this planet is dumb enough to think otherwise. So there is that, once again, from DailyWire.com. I guess Australia will just be one big, giant, fake gun-free zone and fucking safe space for retards, because that's essentially what Australia's turned into. Next one here comes from ZeroHedge.com. EU folds on Russian asset reparations, but commits $105 billion loan to Ukraine. So, another geopolitical update regarding Russia v. Ukraine. And of course, I will keep you guys updated on that stuff as we move forward. We just have a few more, and then I will bid you guys adieu way early tonight. And again, I'm really, really sorry, guys. I really wanted to come on here and do a 3-hour episode of The Breakdown, but my voice is just not having it today, and now I'm getting some post-nasal drip, so I hope that I'm not actually getting sick. That would really suck. But Zero Hedge has this: Russian border guards breach Estonian territory, and ambassador summoned here. So Estonia is real bloomin' mad about this, and obviously they are. Nobody likes their territory being breached by a foreign country. So hopefully this doesn't turn into anything else. They have summoned the Russian ambassador to Estonia to basically give an excuse as to why the hell this happened. So hopefully the excuse is good enough and Estonia doesn't join the war against Ukraine or the war against Russia with Ukraine or something, right? That would be an absolute freaking travesty. Two more here. Putin claims peace talks cannot happen because Ukraine is not ready. And essentially what he's saying is that Ukraine will not give up land as a part of a deal, and therefore it's a non-starter. Until they actually acquiesce and give up land, Putin is saying they will not be making any deal. So this is disappointing, very disappointing indeed, because Zelensky is essentially, he's a very, very stubborn man, and I don't think that he really wants to give up any land at all. Neither does the rest of the Ukrainian government, really, with probably just a few exceptions. So I don't know. I hope this does not mean that the war will continue grinding on for another freaking year or something, but it's honestly starting to look like that unless some diplomatic breakthrough that we are not expecting ends up happening. You know, like Zelensky saying, fine, we'll give you the Donbass. So there's that. Last one for tonight from Zero Hedge. First ever Ukrainian attack on a Russian Shadow Fleet tanker in the Mediterranean Sea. So another, mini escalation here to the conflict. Not that any escalations are going to mean much since the conflict is still between Russia and Ukraine. It's already been escalated to the point of no return, obviously. The only other escalation that would matter is a nuclear escalation, and that's obviously not going to happen because Ukraine does not have nuclear weapons, and I don't think that Russia would ever use nuclear weapons in this conflict unless they felt that the existence of Russia was imminently threatened. So there is that, guys, once again from ZeroHedge.com, and with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, I really appreciate it. Sorry I had to cut this thing short and do it like in a really, really fast way. Hopefully by Monday, we'll be just back into the regular swing of things, and I won't have to clear my throat every 20 seconds and deal with post-nasal drip. I don't know why I got that today, but can't win them all, I guess. Raid on Antifa out there with the shades. Thank you very much for the shades. As always, my friend, I really appreciate the generosity there. And then once again, was counting on with 2 cookies earlier as well. Thank you very much for the 2 cookies. Was counting on. If you guys enjoyed the show, make sure to smash that red pill button on thepilled.net and the thumbs up everywhere else on Rumble, on YouTube, all those other places that we're live. And once again, shout out to everybody out there for tuning in. I hope that you guys enjoyed this quick little blitz through the news. But yeah, I will see you guys again on Monday, guaranteed, although I may come back sometime this weekend and do a little something for you guys, depending on what's going on, if I'm busy and how I'm feeling, all that good stuff. So keep an eye out for me this weekend, guys. But with that being said, that is going to do it. We only hit 600 gold pills on Pilled tonight because we've only been live for about an hour. So I'll go ahead and save the scratching up for either sometime this weekend or for Monday. Once again, guys, if you enjoyed the show, make sure to smash that red pill button and then the thumbs up everywhere else. We'll go ahead and, we'll raid Woke Societies today. I never get to raid Woke Societies because he's usually long off of his show by the time I'm off of mine. So we'll go ahead and raid him with 20 people today as a way to say thank you to him for all the raids. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I always really appreciate having you guys out there, and I look forward to being on air again soon. Again, hopefully sometime this weekend we'll find something to do for you guys stream-wise, but I will definitely be back on Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time with another episode of The Breakdown. So looking forward to that. As always, if you guys want to jump into the news verbatim as I normally would, read through it yourselves, then you certainly can over at the WordPress, or the WordPress, seasonpixels.wordpress.com. Every single piece of news that we just covered, there's a link to those available on there. So there it is, fam. All right, guys, you have an amazing rest of your night. Again, I feel really bad for cutting this show short, but my throat's telling me to knock it the hell off, so I'm gonna go ahead and listen to my body, I guess. You guys have a great rest of your night, and I will see you again soon. Until then, much love. God bless. Thank you all so much once again, and peace. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Breakdown, your daily source of important news and information. If you enjoyed the show, please smash that thumbs up button and consider subscribing for notifications when I go live. If you are looking for a link to something you heard on the show, all of them are available at seasonpixels.wordpress.com. This channel is 100% viewer funded and would not be possible without you. Thank you for your generous support on Foxhole, Cash App, and Buy Me a Coffee. If you are interested in Season Pixels gear, head on over to riseattireusa.com/intl/Season Pixels, where you can choose between a shirt or a hoodie. Brought to you evil-free by American Patriots. God bless everyone, and see you on the next one.